Good afternoon, Excellencies, Ministers, and all the delegates came for our 8th ISA Assembly. It is an immense pride for International Solar Alliance to have distinguished gathering in this session here to speak on importance of advancing regional and global interconnections and to facilitate knowledge exchange and discussions. Let me invite all the delegates on the dais, please. I welcome Joint Secretary, Ministry of Power, Government of India, Dr. D. Sai Baba, please. Honorable Excellency Kulman Gising, Minister of Urban Development, Minister of Energy, Water Resource and Irrigation, Nepal. Member Power Systems, Shri V.K. Singh ji from CEA. Honorable Excellency Mr. Aiko, Honorable Deputy Minister, Ministry of Electric Power, Myanmar. Mr. Naveen Sharvastava, Director Operations, Power Grid. Mr. Karma P. Dorji, Director General, Ministry of Energy and Natural Resource, Bhutan. Mr. Shivendu Bose, Electricity and Energy Trade Department, Ministry of Energy, UAE. Mr. Moz Sharif, Lead Energy Specialist, World Bank. Mr. Medonka, MD and CEO, Siemens Energy India Limited. Additional Secretary, Ministry of Energy, Mrs. Prasant, Ministry of Sri Lanka. Thank you all for joining in this gathering here. Now I would like to invite Dr. D. Sai Baba, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Power, for the opening keynote address, please.
Hello. Good afternoon. Honorable Minister of New and Renewable Energy, Government of India, Honorable Excellencies, Ministers, dear delegates, and distinguished guests, it gives me immense pleasure to be part of this ISA's initiative of including the One Sun, One World, One Grid as its 10th program and its secretariat were deemed approval by the Assembly. I express my thanks to be invited to this August forum. The world today stands at a defining juncture in its energy journey, with nations across continents committing to deep decarbonization and renewable expansion. India's own commitment of achieving the 500 gigawatt of non-fossil energy capacity by 2030 and net zero by 2070 echoes this global determination. I feel pride in sharing that under the able leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, we achieved the 50% of non-fossil fuel capacity 5 years ahead of the 2030 target which we have set. The continued reduction in the solar PV and the battery cost of nearly 90% over the last decade clearly indicate that the future energy mix in most countries will be dominated by renewables, particularly solar energy in line with their least cost generation plan. Yet, to fully realize this potential, we must address a core challenge, the intermittency of renewable energy sources and the need for a flexible, interconnected systems that can balance the variability and ensure reliability. While solutions like energy storage, whether pumped hydro or the battery system, help manage the variability at the local level, which we are working towards, but it's a regional and the cross-border interconnection that offer the most suitable and the structural flexibility at this large scale. Guided by this vision that the sun never sets, our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, first introduced the idea of connecting the global solar resources at the first assembly of the International Solar Alliance in 2018. The One Sun, One Grid, One World, One Grid OSOWOG initiative. This vision was further strengthened at COP26 in Glasgow in 2021. The OSOWOG initiative envisages connecting over 120 countries to regional super grid interconnections. enabling the transfer of surplus renewable power across time zones, reducing dependence on the costly storage, and creating a resilient, cost-effective, and globally integrated energy systems. The approach focuses on connecting regional clusters of grids such as South Asia, Southeast Asia, the Middle East, Africa, and Europe, rather than isolated nations, thereby establishing a global network of interconnected clean energy regions. To make this vision actionable, Government of India has conveyed its decision for the establishment of the OSOWOG Secretariat at the International Solar Alliance. This step will ensure strategic coherence, operational efficiency, and strengthen global collaboration in advanced solar energy deployment, regional and global electricity grid interconnections. The Secretariat will act as an institutional anchor of this initiative, facilitating dialogue, supporting member countries in policy, strategy, regulatory planning, and technical harmonization, advancing the cross-border project preparations, regional electricity markets, and building capacity to make cross-border energy interconnections economically, financially, and technically viable, and supported with sound strategy and policy setup. Actually, we are working on this, and we are able to see, and we are looking forward for a good help on these by the Secretariat, so that we are able to achieve our objectives. Presently, India is a regional hub with several bilateral and multilateral electricity links in South Asia. An integrated South Asian bulk power system offers a large economic and decarbonization benefits. The commercially and technically feasible operational routes we have with our neighboring countries and planning to be with Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Sri Lanka can be a foundation for the unified, scalable market platform for power that can be extended to the OSOWOG. We have already demonstrated this effort towards regional power exchanges by facilitating the power trade between Nepal and Bangladesh. It was a very small step, but it's a small step towards a greater achievement. Our cross-border interconnection with Bangladesh, Nepal, and Bhutan is around 10,000 megawatt, which is expected to double to almost 20,000 by 2030. We have an established mechanism of the joint technical team, joint working group, and joint steering committee at various levels to devise the policies, contractual agreements, tariff determination, and sharing mechanism through its bilateral links. However, we must acknowledge that challenges ahead. Integrating the diverse national grid will require addressing technical complexities, economic cost-benefit analysis, regulatory alignment, and coordinated operational planning. It will also demand substantial financial mobilization and risk-sharing mechanism that ensure equitable benefit to all the participants. The establishment of the OSOWOG Secretariat at ISA marks a new phase in this journey. It will serve as a global platform for coordination, innovation, and capacity building, working closely with partners such as regional development institutions to realize the vision of interconnected global solar grid. And I'm sure that today's discussion, actually we were hearing the discussions, and now whatever discussion will happen will bring valuable insights from experts, government, industry leaders on technical, commercial, and social dimension of this transition which we are looking for. These inputs will strengthen our collective roadmap for achieving a clean, resilient, and interconnected energy future. While the sun may set in one of the regions, it rises in another. Its energy is limitless, and through OSOWOG, we have the power to make that energy illuminate every corner of our planet. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your insightful and inspiring speech. I'm now going to invite Honorable Kulmen Kising, Minister of Urban Development, Minister of Energy, Nepal, for his special address, please.
Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor to address this distinguished gathering and reflect on the immense opportunities that regional and global power interconnections offer for our shared clean energy future. In Nepal, our clean energy journey is guided by a strong national commitment to renewables, we have developed nearly 4,000 megawatt of generation capacity with hydropower and solar contributing almost 100%, making Nepal one of the greenest electricity producers in the world. Blessed with an immense hydropower potential, estimated 83,000 megawatt of hydropower potential and about 42,000 megawatt of pump storage potential. Our resources are clean, renewable, and perfectly complement the solar and wind systems of our neighboring countries. Alongside hydropower, Nepal is steadily expanding solar generation with about 140 megawatt already connected to the national grid and around 1,100 megawatt in various stages of development. Our policy aims to continue scaling up solar energy to maintain balanced and diversified renewable mix, enhancing overall grid reliability and energy security. Currently, hydropower projects with a total capacity of about 8 gigawatts are in various stages of development, including 4.8 gigawatts under construction with Indian public and private sector investment. This reflects growing investment confidence and deepening regional cooperation in clean energy. Nepal's vision is to harness this potential not only for national development but also to become a major clean energy exporter in South Asia, targeting up to 15,000 megawatt of renewable power exports by 2035. We see hydropower as a strategic enabler of South Asia's clean energy transition and a vital source of grid stability and flexibility. A landmark long-term power trade agreement between Nepal and India, concluded in June 2023, envisions the export of 10,000 megawatts over the next decade. Building on the joint vision statement of Prime Ministers of Nepal and India in April 2022, this milestone marks a major step in expanding the regional power market and strengthening energy cooperation. Cross-border energy cooperation lies at the heart of Nepal's clean energy vision. We have established strong interconnections with India and initiated trilateral power trade with Bangladesh. During the wet season, Nepal exports around 1,100 megawatt of electricity, while in the peak dry season, we import up to 800 megawatts through various market mechanisms. For effective regional integration, however, it is essential to strengthen transmission infrastructure not only between Nepal and India, but also between India and Bangladesh and other countries. This will lay the foundation for a fully interconnected BIMSTEC power grid. Nepal's power transformation has been driven by growing cross-border connectivity with India. What began with modest 33 kV links in the 1970s has evolved into high voltage interconnection like the Dalkibar-Muzaffarpur 400 kV line. Among other measures, these interconnections helped eliminated decade-long load shedding in Nepal. Under our joint transmission planning with India up to 2035, 8 high-voltage interconnections have been identified to enable over 16 gigawatts of cross-border power exchanges. The Dalkibar-Muzaffarpur 400 kV line is already operational, while the Butol-Gorakhpur and Dalkibar-Sitamarhi lines are in advanced stage of completion. The development of financing modalities for next 2 high-voltage transmission line corridors have been finalized, and studies are underway for several cross-border transmission lines to reinforce this expanding network. As regional and global grids evolve, interconnections will enable renewable power to flow across time zones, balancing demand and supply, lowering cost, and expanding access. This vision aligns perfectly with one sun, one world, one grid, where clean energy flows seamlessly and sustainably across borders. To make this vision a reality, regional countries must work toward integrated power markets that enable smooth, non-discriminatory, and unrestricted green energy flow. Transparent regulations, harmonized standards, and open access to transmission infrastructures will be key to attracting private investment and ensuring long-term sustainability. Another vital dimension of sustainability is the resilience of our energy infrastructures to the growing impacts of climate change. Despite Nepal's negligible contribution to global emissions, increasingly frequent floods and droughts are causing severe damage to our power systems and livelihoods, often demanding major reconstruction efforts. Strengthening climate-resilient infrastructures is therefore a national priority. We call for a stronger regional and international cooperation to address climate-induced losses and to mobilize financing for effective mitigation and adaptation to increasing climate impacts. Nepal stands at a turning point in its clean energy journey with abundant hydropower, rising solar capacity, and expanding cross-border links. We hold the promise of powering the region sustainably. I invite our friends and partners to join us, invest in Nepal, invest in renewables, and be part of brighter, greener future for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I'll request our Director General, Mr. Ashish Khanna, to give a presentation on One Sun, One World, One Grid from ISA perspective.
Thank you, Pankaj. The importance of any panel sometimes is by the number of panelists, and you can see how important this agenda is. So it's great to be here. I will be making a very brief presentation, basically talking about what we are really attempting. Our idea is, as the Joint Secretary and Pankaj already mentioned, that this was a call given by Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi in First Assembly, but also in Glasgow COP, that the time has come for connecting countries. The vision is about interconnection. As you can see from the map, the challenges for interconnection are manifold. India, after a huge work by Power Grid, CA and all the entities, is now one national grid with due interconnections from most of the neighboring countries. But there is also a market that exists for individual countries. So if you look at Africa, it's largely three power pools: West Africa power pool, that is dark green; South Africa power pool, that is light green; and East African power pool, that's on the east side, with Northern Africa being a very separate interconnected. Central African power pool is not operational. Then Egypt is getting connected to Saudi Arabia, but Saudi Arabia and GCC are still in early stages of interconnection across countries. Europe, as we all know, has an integrated market with a huge amount of trade happening within Europe through ENTSO. And then there is a huge demand coming over in Singapore and East Asia because of AI, data centers and others, for which there's a huge discussion of whether Singapore can be connected through undersea links or can have online connection via Thailand and Malaysia. Lot of work. The advantages I don't need to mention. As you can see those load curves, the sun peaks at very different times and the off-peak hours are at very different times. So it's a very obvious resource complementarity and diversity of peak demand. Every country I speak to, their first question is, how do I meet my evening peak with solar? In addition to different forms of storage, regional interconnections is definitely one of the big answers. It also gives you energy security, because in the end, if you are connected to other countries, God forbid, if there is any outage or exigency, there is a huge system security that all transmission companies and systems are really aspiring for. In terms of what is going to be a work program, as I spoke very briefly early today, we are having a study jointly with the Power Grid Task Force with EDF on what are the priority nodes for interconnections between different parts of the world. Once that study is completed in next 2 months, we will be doing a dissemination, bringing countries together. Because once you identify a node, what is the costing, what are the cost-benefit analysis, technical issues, regulatory issues, and financing issues. This we will do through a very lean secretariat. There was a proposal at some point of time to have almost an ISA equivalent secretariat for OSOWOG. We believe that is probably not warranted at this time, because a lot of detailed financing work of regional interconnections is managed bilaterally and by banks. ISA does not intend to do any real financing and DPR work for interconnections. We will have a lean secretariat of about 4 or 5 big experts that are going to work with partners, whether it is UAE, in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, or Singapore, on having concrete set of feasibility-based discussions on looking at institutional financial models, and this would really be the bulk of our work going forward, of prioritizing knowledge sharing, capacity building, and expert webinars. So this is a momentous occasion because this was under preparation for a long time. We are delighted that we are able to open this, and with this, I hand over back to the panel. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your describing about all the aspects related to OSOWOG and upcoming activities which ISA would be taking up. Now, coming to the panel discussion on long-distance transmission interconnectors, a global opportunity for large-scale energy transition. Our moderator for this session is Shri V.K. Singh Ji, Member Power Systems, Central Electricity Authority, and panelists are there. Now I would like to give the floor to Shri V.K. Singh Ji and request panelists to be brief in 2 to 3 minutes for each of the questions so as to complete the session. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for giving me opportunity for the role of moderator for very important technical session today. Honorable Minister of Coal and Renewable Energy, a very warm welcome to all of you and all the delegates in this important session. We are honored to have such distinguished guest and speaker who has joined us today. For those who, for the sake of introduction, today before we begin, let me give you a brief overview of what to expect from this session. We are honored to have such distinguished guest and speaker today. So, we have brief background. Okay. So today we have distinguished delegates of this panel, and they do not need any introduction, but for the sake of formalities, I would like to introduce the member of the panel for this session today. First member is Mr. Naveen Srivastav, Director Operation, who has experience of India in building green energy corridor for facilitating large-scale renewable energy development and grid integration. Mr. Karma P. Dorji, Director General, Ministry of Energy and Natural Resource, Royal Government of Bhutan. He is having vast experience of Bhutan's cross-border electricity trading through trading platform of India and Bhutan. And His Excellency Mr. Ayakov, Honorable Deputy Minister, Ministry of Electric Energy. He has perspective role in Government of Myanmar as a potential energy hub for integrating South Asia and Asian power grid. And next member of panel is Mr. Suvendu Bose, engineering expert, Electricity and Energy Trade Department, Ministry of Energy and Environment, UAE. We learn key learning of Gulf countries in creation of regional GCC grid interconnection and potential for interconnection of GCC grid with Europe and India. Mr. Moez Cherif, lead energy specialist, World Bank. Would like to hear, sir, need of conducive investment and financial environment for developing large-scale cross-border power generating and transmission facility. And we also have Mr. G. Mendoka, MD and CEO, Siemens Energy India Limited. So, the topic for this session is basically a very important and technical session, that regional and global interconnection for large-scale clean energy transition. We all know that India has committed for net zero target by year 2070. And DC target, India has committed that 50% capacity by 2030. We have already achieved that target 5 years ahead, that we achieved the target in July 2025. And for global interconnection, first we have to regional interconnection. India has already established interconnection with our neighboring country. We have cross-border interconnection and trading with Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, and also Bangladesh. As Joint Secretary Transmission already mentioned in his opening remark, that our cross-border trading is of the order of roughly little over 10,000 megawatt in October 2025. But we have planned that this interconnection is going to increase about 20,000 megawatt in next 5 years. Planning exercise has already been done, and work on few of the transmission line is under discussion and planning stage, and few lines with Nepal is already under construction. So we are in last 5 years we have 54 BU export of energy with India. At the same time, we have also imported 42 BU electricity, green energy in fact. So for global interconnection, first South grid need to be interconnected with the Southeast Asian grid. After interconnection with our 4 neighboring countries, we are also planning to for electrical connection with a high voltage transmission line with Myanmar, from Myanmar to Thailand, Thailand to Malaysia, and Malaysia to Singapore. So once South Asia grid and Southeast Asia grid is connected, also we have planned to connect the Indian grid with UAE, Saudi Arabia, and GCC and European grid and South African grid. So this panel will discuss in details on this subject matter. So total time given for me is 30 minutes. So we have 6-7 panelists. So for each members, roughly time will be of the order of 3 to 4 minutes. it is not justified having such a vast experience our member having today. So I think I would like to go ahead with the question so first question with first member of this panel. I would with Mr. Naveen Srivastav. We already heard Mr. Naveen Srivastav, Director Operation Power Grid. He has vast experience in building green energy corridor for large-scale renewable energy and grid interaction. Sir, first question to you, that we all know that the power grid is manning roughly 70% of ISTS network in the country and leader in the country, not only Indian, but you have also presence in, you have global presence across different countries. So question is, how can power grid experience in grid modernization, green energy corridors for large-scale renewable energy evacuation and resilience contribute to shaping international standard and framework for future regional and global interconnection?
Thank you, Singh Saab. Let me tell you about Power Grid. Power Grid is always a pioneer in bringing the new things in, before the world. This is the first country which has come out with the One India, One Grid, One Frequency, started from 1995, and it has by 2007, you can see that India is one frequency. After that, you can see that we are the only nation which is not only operating 765, 400 kV in the 220 kV or 132 kV in the HC system, but also in HVDC we are having 320 kV or 500 kV or 800 kV HVDC. We have already done one pilot project of 1200 kV in Bina. It is in as a pilot project we have done for a small line, and now we'll see that if the responsibility comes, we are going to bring a 1200 kV and all. So grid modernizations and grid resiliency is one of the factors which all of us has to go in that one. Once was what he was talking about, the green corridors. We have planned green corridor for phase 1, then green corridor phase 2, and you can see the phase 1 is almost completed and phase 2 is the implementation stage, and now phase 3 is coming up. Because unless you plan it in the transmission sectors, it is very, very difficult. It will be very, very not correct for the renewable generation which is coming, because renewable is whichever country it is there, it is in a pocket manner. In India, it is on the western part in Rajasthan or in the Gujarat area. So you have to bring this power to a different part of the world. If you see, the hydro will be there in the northeast part. If you see that coal is in the central or the eastern part. So these are, we have to see that we have to integrate it. So these green corridors have come up, and now you see that it is in a very, very good manner that the power is flowing in India. The second part, which is you have told about the grid modernizations, yes, you have to have a resilient and restoration system. Where we have already told you that ERS and other. But the things which we all have to understand, that the cyber secure is one of the aspects which you have to see, that all the countries have to invest money in the cyber security so that your transmission system, which is now becoming digitalized, AI-based, has to be cyber secure. So grid modernization requires not only digitalization innovation, but it should be a very, very cyber secure. Yes, we are experienced, we turn into standards. We are connected with the Bhutan, we are connected with the Nepal, we are connected with Bangladesh. A lateral or load system is connected to Myanmar also. And one more line, which is, some more lines are coming with the Nepal. We are almost on the 85% stage, we are going to come up. This is very much required when we have a collaboration between the two countries. Not only planning, but also we have to see that the bilateral agreements and the way how we have to move. There we have in the, in the Nepal stage, we have made a joint venture company, and 50-50% both the countries are investing in that. That way we are moving, and we see that this is coming up in a very fast manner. We have to see that the grid which is coming up, it is utilized. I'm telling you, Power Grid is almost 85% of the ISTS network Power Grid is holding here. Even MVA capacity of substations, you see that it is also almost 76%. And it is perfectly managed because we are having outage rate is 0.24 and availability of 99.8 to one of the best in the world. What I want to say is how it is possible, because we have digitalized the system. We have invested the money in innovations. Now my whole equipments are on my tip. I can see in my on mobile also, which are healthiness of any transformers, any reactors, any breakers, I can see anywhere. The first 765 process-based substation which has come up, it has brought by Power Grid only. It is in operation in Navsari in Gujarat. This is the first 765 kV. But before that, we have come out with the 220 and 400 kV digital substations also. We are going with the digital lines also now, because ROW is very, very critical. So we have to see that dynamic line loading is required. When we want to load maximum, the transmission line is required. So grid modernization plays a major role, because ROW and challenges are so much that to bring the transmission line becomes a very, very difficult task. And once the generation is ready and transmission lines are not there, it's very bad. It is not good for the consumers. So we have to see that we have to plan in proper, and our CTOIL planning, which is a part of subsidiary for Power Grid, they are planning with the discussion with the Grid India, which is the operators, with the executors like Power Grid and other private owners, and they are coming with the good schemes, which is very effective and very good, useful. So I want to tell you, yes, we have to bring out a stable, a resilient, and a quality transmission system. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Naveen-ji, for limiting your reply in 4 minutes. Thank you. My next question is to Honorable Deputy Minister, Government of Myanmar, on topic Myanmar's role as a potential energy hub for integrating South Asia and Asian power grid. As already I mentioned in my opening remark, that because of strategic location of Myanmar, we are planning for interconnection with India to Singapore by 2 routes. One is land route from Myanmar to Thailand to Malaysia to Singapore. Another one is the sea route from Paradip to Andaman Nicobar Island to Singapore. Detail exercise already we have worked out in CA. Only issue is the high cost of this project, and also the political commitment, and the cost of power that will be transported. And in land route, we have 2 models. That is, some power will be absorbed in the Myanmar, and from Myanmar to Thailand. I think 200 megawatt will be absorbed in the Thailand, from Thailand to Malaysia. And another model is the whole power will be evacuated to Singapore. So this is just at a planning stage. So with this background, my question with Honorable Minister is, sir, what institutional framework and international partnership are being considered to enable Myanmar to function as a regional energy exchange hub within the OSOWOG architecture?
Thank you.
Sir, just before you play, sir, I will once again request all the panelists to please limit your answer in 2-3 minutes only. Not, thank you. Yeah.
According to the ASEAN Interconnection Master Plan studies, AMSS, Thailand and Myanmar, Laos and Myanmar interconnection projects are included. Therefore, Myanmar was actively participated to accelerate expansion of the multilateral power trade in ASEAN region towards the harmonization of grid connectivity, the establishment of solid framework of ASEAN-wide interconnectivity, including studies in minimum requirements of multilateral power trade, integrated resources reliance, planning and strategy for grid harmonization. Consequently, combining with the experts from ASEAN and International Solar Alliance with primarily focus on solar and wind energy, we will actively cooperate and collaborate and various international organizations and development partners to support feasibility studies, regulatory harmonizations, and investment mobilization to link between one vision, one identity, one community, and one sun, one wall, and one grid architecture.
Thank you, sir. So just for information, we have only cross-border trade with Myanmar, only 3 megawatt only right now. And in the last meeting between two countries, we are planning to increase this quantum, so that Power Grid is already preparing the DPR for interconnection. So my next question is to Mr. Karma P. Dorji, who is Director General, Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources, Royal Government of Bhutan, on topic Bhutan's cross-border electricity trading and vision of regional and global interconnection. In fact, Mr. Karma P. Dorji is a very important person in Royal Government of Bhutan, and he is playing very important role in shaping the policy of Government of Bhutan in electricity sector, sir. So, sir, question to you is, Bhutan has demonstrated the success of hydropower-led bilateral trade. How does your ministry plan to transition this experience toward trilateral, multilateral, market-based regional grid ecosystem?
Thank you, V.K. Singh ji. At the outset, all protocols observed. In the interest of the time, let me put it this way: as the world sort of races towards a clean energy future, small nations, with the abundant renewable energy resources, are proving that they can outsize their roles. And Bhutan is one such example. A country where it's turning its river, the sunlight, into its strategic sort of advantage, generating power, not just for fueling its development, but also strengthening the regional energy security. So at the heart of this transformation is the Bhutan-India Hydropower Corporation, a model that has been a win-win partnership. It has actually enabled Bhutan to earn much needed revenue, while at the same time exporting a clean energy, a reliable energy, affordable energy to India. Over the past 5 decades, our bilateral partnership has built over 3,000 megawatts. Our next step is very clear: scaling this partnership to the next level. We intend to achieve 25,000 megawatts by 2040 by blending hydropower, solar, and storage solutions. For that, we are looking at in excess of $27 billion in terms of the investment. We have made a tremendous progress. As I speak, the partnerships with the leading private sectors like Tata Power, the Adanis, and many more, alongside our own hydropower and solar projects, demonstrates our ability to attract expertise, innovation, and capital. Crucially, Bhutan is building a national capacity to leverage the regional market integration by enhancing cross-border transmission infrastructure from the existing 8,000 megawatts. Bhutan is laying a foundation for a seamless regional electricity market, one that allows all countries to trade efficiently and share the benefits of the clean energy. With a surplus hydropower, solar, pump storage, Bhutan can reliably feed the regional grid year-round. This is more than electricity trade. It is a regional energy security, market efficiency, platform for collaborative climate actions, positioning Bhutan as a catalyst for sustainable energy future for the South Asia. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your vision on Bhutan electricity policy. In fact, today we are importing maximum power from the Bhutan only with our neighboring country, and this quantum is going to increase further because many hydro projects are under planning stage, few projects are under construction. I consider myself very fortunate that I work in Mangdechu hydro project in Bhutan, right from construction to commissioning, and today we are importing that power to India. Thank you. My next question is with Mr. Suvendu Bose, Engineering Expert, Electricity and Energy Trade Department, Ministry of Energy and Environment, UAE, on topic learning from GCC grid and opportunities for interconnection with Europe, India and Africa. Because once a South Asia grid and Asian grid will be connected, our next focus will be connecting this grid with the GCC grid and then African and European grid. Sir, question to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. My first point is that, we have to take two things a little bit different. Developing a transmission network inside a country is a different ballgame. Connecting to the neighboring country is another ballgame. But when we go for the larger regional interconnections with multiple countries connected and getting benefit, that's a completely different ballgame. So we have to be very cautious when we take this OSOWOG or similar one going forward, that how we are designing things. In GCCIA, we are a little bit fortunate to experiment this because other than EU, this country connects to the 6 nations from 2009, so 16 years of operation till now. Out of that, 5 are connected with the synchronous grid. That is important, how we are connecting the synchronous grid. And that gives us a very understanding that how we are designing the next phase of this. I think this is really important. The first thing, I think the grid, when larger grid connected in GCCIA, it is not only the energy sharing that happens, but it's a safety net. So now when we talk about the safety net, the point is who is investing in the grid, how do we get the value return? So you have to be a very, open and transparent mechanism to understanding value of lost load. What is the economic benefit countries are getting? And then comes that little bit on, the developing the trust. Like I can give you you have connected to Bangladesh, not only multiple lines India have connected, but we couldn't go to the other side of Bangladesh and connect Myanmar. Because the grid condition itself a different type of generation and discipline. The grid discipline and qualities, they have to be harmonized to get the maximum value of this. So how do we develop? Because when I am connected with the 5 countries with the multiple generators, all generators are connected to the AGC systems, type 1 generators over there. We need to get into a very good discipline and the codes, and that has to be obliged. This is the fundamental. So that's one side of this. Second is coming, the resilience part of this and operational part of this. Then the GCCIA is successful. There is an independent body which actually oversees this. This is not a, so we coming to that when the larger grid comes, what will be the ownership model, what will be the operating model, what will be the settlement model. So those things are getting increasingly complex and we are planning for that because that's a second. A third part is that obviously how do we actually avoid or take care of the conflicts over there. That's another side of this. So you want to think that is the design feature will be coming to this. And finally is that why this is necessary. I'll just touch upon a point because we found out how do we get the value. I'm coming to that each 1 unit of tariff rise or decline, now this is a huge impact on the country's GDPs. Either it's towards the inflation or deflation and the competitiveness over there. Now we need to come out with the very clear for each country. Because when we are actually even multiple countries doing, we cannot do a single country multiple this. So it goes one by one country by one. We have to very clearly know each country's value, what they're deriving from this with the connections with the multiple neighbors. And then we come to the second and third and we build by step. So I think those are the things we have been working on. For not only for enhancing GCC connecting to the Europe, also working with India as I speak on developing the lines probably further.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your insight on GCC grid sharing. We are already running late this session by 10 minutes. So my next question with Mr. Moez Cherif, Lead Energy Specialist, World Bank. Sir, please pardon me if I pronounce your name incorrectly. So question is, what are the key ingredients for mobilizing investment in trans-regional grid interconnection?
Yes.
Please limit in 2-3 minutes.
Sure, I'll try to be brief. So yes, thank you very much for inviting the World Bank to this distinguished panel. So I'll address the question in particular from the point of view of one type of interconnectors, and that's the subsea interconnectors, which I think are essential to realizing the vision, the OSOWOG vision that we saw earlier. These interconnectors tend to be more expensive than the on-land type. So I think three key messages and three lessons learned in terms of the success of these interconnectors. Number one is the importance of regional power planning. I think that was mentioned earlier, and having comprehensive feasibility studies ahead of the launch. Number two, of course, is the political support from both interconnecting countries. That's really crucial. And third point is the availability of investment subsidies, which is a really important ingredient. As I mentioned, these projects tend to be quite expensive, so for their financial viability. And I'll illustrate a little bit these points using a particular project, the Tunisia-Italy subsea interconnector that I had the privilege to work on and finance within the World Bank. So this is a 600 megawatt interconnector, about 200 kilometers, connecting the north of Africa to the southern part of Europe. And the cost is estimated around 1 billion euros, which is about 1.2 billion US dollars. So, of course, the first step is to have a very good quality technical and economic pre-feasibility study. And this allows to weed out those projects that may not be feasible. I think it's important at the outset, those that are really, don't give economic value for the investment. Then you move on to the feasibility stage, and I'm not going to get into the details, but these tend to be very expensive, especially for the subsea interconnectors. And the one in particular, one study is about the routing of the cable. And for example, in the project I mentioned, this was more than 5 or 6 million US dollars because it requires very specialized equipment. The next point is having a clear vision on the institutional and commercial model that that the two governments wish to implement. Is it going to be public sector structure with a joint venture? Is it going to be more of a private sector structure with an SPV? How will you allocate the capacity, particularly if there is some congestion? Will you have auctions? how do you design the tariff? So that's very important to have this upfront. And maybe one final point, I come back to the importance of investment subsidies. So this is because even when the project is economically viable, not all the economic benefits can easily be monetized. I mean, the energy exchanges can be, but some other benefits like security of supply, the grid stability, some of these benefits that we heard, they're not easily monetized. So the project that I mentioned, for it to be lifted off the ground and to become financially viable, there had to be about 1/3 of the cost was provided by the EU as an investment subsidy. So I think these are some of the lessons learned that I wanted to share, and I'm sure they're applicable to some of the projects that we're looking at, for example, India, Sri Lanka interconnector, and some of the others. I think there are many in Asia now that are being considered, Indonesia to Singapore, and so on. So
Yes,
thank you.
yes, thank you. We are also planning for India to Maldives also. That is also in preliminary stage. So thank you very much for your sharing. And last question to panel, to Mr. G. Mendonca, MD and CEO, Siemens Energy India Limited. Sir, your question is, how do you see the private sector company's role in implementation of such international grid? Because private sector had to play a major role.
Yeah, of course. So first of all, thank you for having Siemens Energy in this important event and panel. The private companies play basically two main roles. One is, of course, on the development of projects, like Power Grid and other companies, of course, are doing, although it's state-owned company, many companies in India, like Adani and Tatas, are very much active in this kind of project. In the case of Siemens Energy, as a private company, we actually, of course, on the technology side, and it's where we bring a big contribution for interconnection of countries. And, I think when we talk about interconnection of countries, we have to have two main topics in mind, to make it short because of the time. One topic is the technology. When we do interconnection, especially interconnection from renewables, of course, the most suitable technology is HVDC, so connections in high voltage and direct current. And there are many technical reasons for that, how we do this in this kind of technology in direct current. One of that is, of course, the efficiency, because you can transport very large blocks of power with the minimal losses possible, but also more, technical things like connecting grids that are in different frequencies, 50 hertz, 60 hertz. The HVDC allows you to connect different frequencies and also asynchronous grids. Also, the HVDC works like a firewall, because if there is a disturbance in one country, then you protect the grid of the other country to not get through the same situation as we mentioned here on the stage between Spain and Portugal. There is this kind of isolation. So we see a lot of country interconnections doing through AC, and it's also working, of course. But when we talk about connection of renewables, HVDC is the best solution for that. And we are proud at Siemens Energy to be very active on this sector. So we can say that we have done the largest HVDC interconnection between Scotland and Wales with 2.3 gigawatts. We have done the longest one, almost 800 kilometers between Denmark and the UK, subsea. And now we are doing the deepest one in 2,300 meters between Italy and the islands of Sicilia and Sardinia. So we have a very large experience on doing that. And we are, of course, happy to support. We are in this country, for more than 100 years, and we are happy to keep supporting India and the countries in the neighborhood. And maybe the last topic that I would just mention is the planning, right? We have to have in mind that the implementation of solar farms takes maybe 12 months, right? Super quick. However, transmission still takes 3 years, right? And then we have to plan the transmission coming up front. So when the farms come, we can simply connect and not plan as we had planned in the time of thermal generation, where the thermal generation took 5 years to come and transmission could come along. Today, transmission has to come first, and then the farms can connect without any problem. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Honorable President, sir, for the paucity of time, I am not taking any question from audience also. If there is any question, kindly send it through email and it will be replied back. And
Thank you.
So I propose if no further cross question with the panelists because paucity of time, and I propose to close this session. And my take on this session is that to achieve the OSOWOG target, clear policy decision need to be taken at the highest level, and jointly we have to work together to achieve the target. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shri V.K. Singh ji, for giving a moderator role. And thank you very much all the panelists for the insightful discussion. Summarizing the session, India is playing a critical leadership role in expanding the regional and global grid interconnections. Interconnected grids are not just about technology or infrastructure. They represent partnerships, cooperation, trust, and shared prosperity. Thank you very much all for joining us here. Thank you very much.